Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning's Ripple Effect. I apologize. I am in the car. Hopefully the rain will hold off. My daughter has choreo, so I'm sitting in the car. I'm like, it's sprinkling. So if you might hear some pounding, I apologize. But I want to start today. I'm gonna play a podcast, I should say that. Um, I know Maggie dropped it in the chat. I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to it. I listen to these podcasts every Monday morning. It's Debbie Neal. It's her Level Up podcast. Um, she drops them every Monday morning, and I don't know what it is about her, but every single one of her podcasts reaches to my core. So that's what we're going to listen to. And this one is probably the best I've heard from her. Um, and I've listened to it a couple times. And as soon as I listened to it, I was like, I need to do a ripple effect on this because this is amazing. So this one is called Stop Negotiating with Yourself. So it's perfect. The central idea is that she wants to become more disciplined. So, oh, good morning, Heather. That's okay. We know who you are now. Um, so she connects those little negotiations that we make with ourselves to standards, self-trust, confidence, identity, and ultimately like our future. So what um what we're going to do is just listen to it. And I want you to just kind of think like when you're listening to it, um kind of want you to like see what triggers come up, or like when she's saying like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh, yep, that's me. Because, how many times do we actually, know what we need to do, but then we start negotiating with ourselves. We say, I'm going to get up early, and then tomorrow comes and, well, I didn't sleep very well, so I'm going to, sleep in a little bit later. Or, we say, I'm going to follow up with those people today, and then I'll do it tomorrow when I have more time. So we start negotiating with ourselves. And that's what's interesting, is that most of the time we're not confused about what we should do because we know what we need to do. We just start negotiating with ourselves about whether we're actually going to do it. And that's what we're going to listen to today. Not a place of beating ourselves up, just to become, aware. Because once you recognize the negotiation is happening in your head, then you can start to change it. So before I hit play, I want everybody to grab something to write with if you're able to. If you're driving, then please don't do that. And like I said, while you're listening, I want you to, think, oh, that sounds like me, and write it down. You don't overthink it. Don't, have to take some like beautiful notes. Just, scribble it, when something hits you, write it down, because the chances are that whatever is making you slightly uncomfortable is probably, something that we are also, uncomfortable with. So let me go ahead and share. I wonder if I can just share this part. All right. Share sound, of course. And here we go.
Welcome back, friends, to another episode of our Raise Your Standards movement. So if you've been on this journey with me, then you already know this isn't just another podcast series with Level Up with Debbie Neal. This is a movement, and it's a movement to become the leader you were created to be. And so week by week, conversation by conversation, decision by decision, we are raising the standard of our lives. Not because someone else expects more of us, but because we know we were created for more. And so today, I want to talk to you about something that quietly steals more dreams than almost anything else. And it doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't have flashy headlines. And most people don't even realize they're doing it. And what I'm talking about is negotiating with yourself. And if you don't stop, it will quietly keep you living beneath your potential for the rest of your life. So I want you to think about yesterday, okay? How many conversations did you have with yourself? I'll work out tomorrow. I'll make the calls later. I deserve a break. I've already worked hard. You know what? I'm going to start Monday. It doesn't really matter. And so what starts as one tiny compromise becomes a habit. And then those habits become identity. And before you know it, you're living a life you never intended to create. And the biggest battles in life are rarely fought with other people. They are fought in our own mind. Because every single day, you have two voices speaking. One voice is calling you higher, and the other is calling you comfortable. One is saying, get up. The other one is saying, stay in bed. One is saying, make the call. The other one is saying, you can always do it tomorrow. One is saying, become who God created you to be. And the other one says, you're just fine the way you are. And here's what I've learned after 20 years building businesses, leading organizations, speaking around the world, and coaching thousands of leaders. Successful people don't have fewer conversations with themselves. They simply end the conversation sooner. They don't negotiate. When they decide something matters, the decision is already made. There isn't a debate every morning. There isn't a vote every afternoon. There isn't an emotional committee meeting inside your head every single evening. They simply do what they already decided to do. And so, can I tell you something? Every time you negotiate with yourself, your standards go down. And what are we talking about this whole year? Raising your standards. And so this doesn't happen overnight, not dramatically, but it's one tiny compromise at a time. You skip one workout. You miss one reading session. You don't make the calls. You don't follow up. You scroll instead of study. You stay silent instead of speaking up. So nothing seems to happen, but something is always happening. You're teaching yourself that your commitments are optional. And every time you do, your confidence shrinks. Confidence is not built because you're feeling amazing. Confidence is built because you repeatedly prove to yourself, I do what I say I'm going to do. And so people ask me all the time, Debbie, how do I become more confident? Keep promises to yourself. That's where confidence comes from. Confidence isn't a feeling. It's evidence. Evidence that you've become someone who can trust yourself. So I want you to think about that. Do you trust yourself? If you tell yourself you'll wake up early, do you? If you tell yourself you're going to finish whatever project you're working on, do you? If you promise yourself that you're going to eat healthy, do you? Because if you don't believe your own word, why should your dreams believe you? Your future is listening to every promise you make today. Your children are watching. Your team is watching. Your organization is watching. But most importantly, you are watching. Every decision is casting a vote. Every action is shaping identity. Every choice is becoming your future. And you don't become disciplined one giant decision at a time. You become disciplined through thousands of tiny moments where you stop negotiating and you simply move. Because leaders don't wait until they feel like it. Leaders move because they've already decided. Okay? And here's something I know. There is another level waiting for you, but that level is on the other side of ending the negotiation. So I want you to imagine something. Imagine there are two versions of you standing side by side. The person you are today, and then alongside of you is the person you dream of becoming, the stronger leader, the healthier version of you, the one with the thriving business, the incredible relationship, the financial freedom, the peace, the confidence, the influence, the impact. And so I want to ask you a question. What do you think separates these two people? Because it's not talent. It's not intelligence. It isn't luck. It isn't where they were born. Honestly, it's not even opportunity. It's what they do after the decision has been made. Because everyone gets excited when they make a decision. Like, yes, I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to build the business. I'm going to grow to the top. I'm going to do this. I'm going to repair my relationship. I'm going to spend more time with my children. I'm going to be more present. The decision itself is really exciting, but it's not what creates your future. What creates your future is what happens on the ordinary Tuesday morning when nobody's watching. That's where leaders are built. Not on stages, not on social media, not at conferences, but in the quiet moments when no one would know if you quit. Okay. And so I want to share something that I've learned. Your destiny is not decided in the big moments. It's in the little tiny moments. The alarm clock rings. What do you do? The work gets hard. What do you do? The phone feels heavy. What do you do? The rejection comes. The attrition comes. What do you do? Business slows down. What do you do? Because every one of those moments asks the same exact question. Who are you? Who are you? Not who do you hope to become? Who are you today? And your standards answer that question far louder than your goals ever will. So goals are something you're going to write them down. Standards are what you live. Goals inspire you. Standards define you. Goals can change. Your standards don't. 2020 to sell online, expand to new markets. This new year with, so I want you to think about that. Everything you repeatedly do today, you're getting better at. If you make excuses every day, you are becoming world class at making excuses. If you procrastinate every day, you're becoming an expert procrastinator. If you quit every single time it gets uncomfortable, you're training yourself to quit. But the beautiful part is the opposite is also true. Every time you choose discipline, discipline gets easier. Every time you choose courage, your courage grows. Every time you honor your commitments, your identity gets stronger because identity is built by repetition. And that's why I just love the phrase, raise your standards. Raise your standards because standards aren't about perfection. They're about direction. And I don't expect you to get every single thing right. Neither does God. But I do expect you to stop lowering the standard every time life gets difficult because life is going to get difficult. There will be days that you're tired, days that you're discouraged, days where people disappoint you, days when business is slower than you hoped, days when you don't feel motivated, but your standards can't be based on your feelings. Your standards have to be based on your values. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll do it when I feel like it. No. You'll become successful when you do it, whether you feel like it or not. Feelings are wonderful servants. They make terrible leaders. Your feelings should ride in the back seat. Your purpose should be driving. I've had countless mornings where I didn't feel like recording, and I got to be honest, today was one of them. Right? I wanted to go on my morning walk. I didn't get to go on my morning walk. I had to do other things, but I'm so glad that I'm here right now. There are countless mornings that I didn't feel like traveling or maybe didn't feel like speaking or didn't feel like building or didn't feel like making that one more call. But I learned something that's so valuable. Feelings are temporary, but regret lasts forever. And I've almost never regretted doing the thing I didn't feel like doing right here, right now. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I told Chase that I could do the afternoon. Now, I asked him to switch days. So obviously I was like, this is the time he's available. I'm doing it. I honor my word. I honor my commitment. But I'm just so glad now. I'm like, oh, this was the perfect time. I've never regretted doing the thing, but I've regretted the times I let myself off the hook. So here's the question I want to leave with you before, I kind of think of my final thoughts. Where in life are you still negotiating? Is it your health? Is it your relationship? Is it your faith? Is it your business? Is it your finance? Is it your leadership? Is it your mindset? Where have you been having the same conversation over and over and over again? And maybe today is the day that that conversation ends. Maybe today is the day you become someone whose word is final. Not because you're perfect, but because you've decided your future is too important to keep negotiating it away, right? So I want to really leave you with this thought. The life you've been praying for is hidden inside the decisions you've been postponing. So again, is that the stronger relationship, the healthier body, the growing business, creating financial freedom, the influence, the peace, the confidence, the opportunities? They aren't found in one giant breakthrough. They're found in hundreds of moments when you simply decide, this is who I am now. And there does come a moment in every leader's life when they stop asking themselves if they feel like doing it. And they start telling themselves what they do. That's identity. That's leadership. That's raising your standards. You know, years ago, I realized something that completely changed my life. Every morning, I had a choice. I could listen to the version of me that wanted comfort, or I could listen to the version of me that wanted purpose. And one voice said, Deb, you've done enough. And the other whispered, stop with your nonsense. You were created for more. And so one voice looked for reasons to slow down. The other looked for reasons to level up. And the voice that wins is the voice you feed. If every day you feed comfort, comfort becomes your identity. If every day you feed discipline, discipline becomes your identity. If every day you feed faith, faith becomes your identity. If every day you feed courage, courage becomes your identity. You become whatever you repeatedly strengthen. And that's why this movement that we're creating this year isn't about changing your life overnight. It's about becoming someone who refuses to lower the standard. Your future isn't created by your biggest day. It's actually created by your average day, the ordinary Tuesday, the ordinary Wednesday, the ordinary Friday afternoon when no one is applauding for you. Those ordinary moments become extraordinary lives. So one of the questions I get all the time too is like, what's the secret? Friends, there isn't one. Successful people simply make fewer exceptions. They don't let one bad day become a bad week, one bad week become a bad month, one bad month become a bad year. They get back up and they get up quickly. They don't waste energy beating themselves up. They spend their energy building themselves up. If they miss a workout, they don't miss two. If they make a mistake, they learn. If they get rejected, they make another call. If they fail, they get wiser, they learn. Leaders aren't people who never fail. They're people who refuse to stay down. Okay? So God didn't call you to a life of excuses. He called you to stewardship, to faithfully use the gifts he's placed inside of you, to multiply what you've been given, to shine your light, to serve people, to make an impact, to become everything he created you to become. And that calling deserves your highest standards, not your leftovers, not when you have time, not someday, but today, because none of us are promised tomorrow. Every sunrise is an invitation. Every new day is another opportunity to become the person you've been praying to become. So here's my challenge for you this week. I want you to find one area of your life where you've been negotiating, just one. Maybe it's getting up when your alarm goes off. Maybe it's reading 10 pages every day. Maybe it's spending uninterrupted time with your family. Maybe it's protecting your health. Maybe it's making the calls. Maybe it's taking the first scary step that you've been putting off. Whatever it is, make one decision and then remove the option of negotiating. When the alarm goes off, get up. When it's time to work, work. When it's time to pray, pray. Don't rush your time with God. When it's time to lead, lead. Don't ask yourself if you feel like it. Remind yourself who you are, because leaders don't make decisions based on emotions. They make decisions based on identity, and identity creates destiny. And I truly believe that's what this entire Raise the Standards movement is about. You're not just trying to accomplish more, you're becoming more. You're becoming leaders who keep our word, leaders who honor our commitments, leaders who choose purpose over comfort, leaders who inspire people not just by what they say, but how they live. So imagine what your life could look like 1 year from today if you stop negotiating with yourself today. Imagine how stronger your faith would be, how healthy your body would be, how much more confident you'd become, how much your business could grow, how many more lives you could impact. Imagine the example you'd become for your children, your team, your community, but it does all begin with one decision, one standard, one promise, and it's the moment you say the conversation is over. This is who I am now. So as our time together is ending, I want to remind you of something. Every time you stop negotiating with yourself, you become someone your future can trust. Every promise you keep is a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. Every disciplined decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every courageous step is proof that comfort no longer controls you. This movement is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about waking up every single day and choosing to become just a little bit more of who God created you to be, because ordinary people negotiate and leaders decide. And leaders, we know what they do. They raise their standards. So thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode challenged you, if it encouraged you, or reminded you of the leader you're capable of becoming, friends, do me a favor, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Together, we're not just building better businesses or better habits, we're building better leaders. And the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. So don't lower it, raise it. Stand, and here's what I want you to do. Stand up right now if you can.
Okay, we don't need to do the stand up part. But I I listened to this I've now 3 or 4 times this week, and every single time, I'm like, yes, because I need that reminder. Um, she's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. Okay, so
I
this
agree.
whole yeah,
I can take that. I can listen to that multiple times a day
yeah, hmm,
just to keep me motivated because everything she said, I'm like, yes, she needs to be like my alarm clock.
right, exactly. Every
You do
one of her
not.
podcasts speaks to my core. I'm like, why is she like in my head? Why?
Yes, yes. I'm exactly the same way. I'm like, okay, yes, I need her. She needs to be my alarm clock to say, get up. You're not lazy. You need to get up and get this day done.
Right? Yeah. So, did anybody have something like hit them? What did you write down? What was your like, oof, yeah, she's talking to me moment?
Yeah, mine was don't put that alarm off. Get up, keep going. You're not going to get anything done. You're not going to build a team. You're not going to build an empire if you just keep putting things off. Get
Yep.
up and do it.
Mine is where she said, "Oh, I'll just do it later. Oh, I'll just do it in a little bit." I'm so
Oh,
guilty for that.
same. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Procrastination.
really easy to be like, ah, I don't have time. I'll just add it to my to-do list, and then the to-do list gets longer and longer and longer, and then half the things don't ever get done. And
So do
anybody
you
else?
have to
Oh,
subscribe to her channel if we wanted to hear it every
oh,
Monday?
absolutely not. It's free. Yep, I
Okay,
have it.
so
I
every
have
Monday
it.
we got to get on Spotify and listen to her.
Yeah, she's on Spotify. I have her on my Apple podcast. That's how I listen to her. Every morning she drops her new episode.
I really
Okay.
like it when she said, my word needs to be final. Don't negotiate it away. So basically, when I say I'm going to do something, make sure I'm following through and doing
Yeah,
it.
it's always easier to say it than to actually follow through. So,
Hmm. And then the other thing I wrote down was the life that you've been praying for is hidden in the negotiations.
exactly. That life that you are wanting, you are negotiating with yourself to not reach it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really good. Really, really good. There's a couple things that I put my things down and jotted in my notes and I couldn't even spell. Um, but confidence isn't a feeling, it's evidence. Just do it until you're confident, which Joey, you brought it up in many different ways, many times, but um there's another way of saying it. And then if you don't believe yourself, why should your dreams believe you? I was like,
Yes. Slap in the face, right?
yeah, big time. I think it was worded that way, it was something along those lines, but
Yeah. So, I love hearing like what everybody picked up because we're all negotiating about different things, but underneath them, there's actually something that is much bigger that's happening, and that is self-trust. Think about the relationships in your life. If somebody constantly told you, I'll be there, and then they weren't, or oh, I'll take care of it for you, and then they didn't, or I promise I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow came and went, and it didn't happen. So what eventually happens? You stop believing them. You may still love that person, you may still care about them, but their word doesn't carry the same weight anymore. Now think about how often we do exactly that, but to ourselves. Oh, I'll start Monday. Monday comes and we don't start. Or I'm going to make those calls and then we don't. I'm going to do the follow ups. I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to stop letting people cross my boundary. And then we allow it to happen over and over. And then every single time we do that, we are creating that evidence. We're teaching ourselves that my own word is negotiable. And then we wonder why we don't feel confident. And that's what she's, talking about being, the evidence is the confidence. We wonder why we second guess ourselves. We wonder why it's difficult to trust ourselves with the bigger goals that we have for ourselves. But confidence, it's not always created by somebody telling you how amazing you are. Confidence comes from having evidence. And evidence says, when I tell myself I'm going to do something, I do it. And that does not require some enormous life transformation. It starts with simply keeping small promises to yourself. So I want you to think, how would your life be different if you trusted yourself completely? If you knew when I say I'm going to do something, it's getting done. What would change? Would you maybe set bigger goals? Or would you take more chances? Would you stop second guessing yourself? Would you finally start something that you've been thinking about for years? So we're going to make this a little bit more personal. And if you've got something to write with again, I want you to create 3 columns. And at the top of the first column, it is, I said I would. So the first column is, I said I would. And the second column, the negotiation I keep making. So the first column is I said I would. Second column is the negotiation I keep making. And then the third column is my new standard is. So I said I would, the negotiation I keep making, and my new standard is. And I'll give you a quick example. Maybe I said I'm going to follow up with people every day, but my negotiation sounds like I don't want to bother them. They probably aren't interested. I'll wait until tomorrow. I don't know what to say. And then the new standard might become I follow up anyway, or I follow up before I finish my workday, or I follow up in this next hour. It's not I'm going to try harder, because that's not the standard. The standard tells me who I am and what I do. Another short example is, maybe you said, I'm going to protect my kind. And then the negotiation is, I don't want them to be mad at me, or I'll just do it this one more time, or I'll just do it anyway to make them happy. Your new standard would become, I can be kind and still have boundaries. So now I'm going to turn it back over to you. Look at your list, and I want you to write down, 2 or 3 that you can think of. And I want you to be brutally truthful with yourself. Nobody else is going to see this. This is simply an exercise for you to become aware. I'll give you a couple minutes to think about this and write things down in your column. All right. Now I want you to look at your middle column, your negotiations. And I want to ask you something. Where have you mistaken a negotiation for a reason? Because sometimes we've repeated the negotiation so many times that we've started believing that it's a fact. I don't have time. Is that always true? Or have I just negotiated away my time? I'm too busy. I don't know enough. I'm not confident enough. I'm waiting until things calm down. I'm waiting for the right moment. I'm waiting until I'm ready. I'm waiting until I have more money. I'm waiting until the kids are older. That's one for me. I wait until the kids are older is a very valid excuse I use and I negotiate with myself. Some of these are going to feel like they are real circumstances. But here's the question. Does the circumstance mean that you can't do it? Or does it mean that you do it a different way? And that is the big difference. One of the biggest things that I want us to recognize is that negotiations, they often are going to show up when our feelings and our commitments, they disagree. We committed to something when we were excited, and then the moment arrives and we're tired or we're nervous or we feel uncomfortable. We're afraid somebody will say no. And suddenly our feelings get a vote. But imagine if every morning you had to renegotiate whether you were going to wash your face or brush your teeth. You don't. It's simply something that you do. There are things in our lives that we've already decided. And I think that sometimes growth means deciding that certain things are simply no longer up for negotiation. So today, we're not leaving today with 25 things that we're going to change because then you're going to get overwhelmed and nothing's going to change. We're going to create one new standard. So looking at what you wrote, what is one thing that could create the change in your life if you stop negotiating about it? It doesn't have to be a big change. We're here for the ripple effect because one little ripple spreads out. So what is one thing that could create a ripple effect in your life if you stopped negotiating about it? And then I want you to complete the sentence. I no longer negotiate with myself about whatever you're filling in the blank. Maybe yours is, I no longer negotiate with myself about following up. I no longer negotiate with myself about protecting my time. I no longer negotiate with myself about showing up. I no longer negotiate with myself about doing the uncomfortable thing. So fill in the blank, and I'll give you a moment if you want to write down your sentence. I no longer negotiate with myself about blank. Now, if you're able to and willing to, I'd love to hear what you are no longer negotiating with yourself. I will start by sharing that I will no longer negotiate with myself about doing the uncomfortable thing. And I had this conversation the other day with myself is for a set period of time, I am going full out. If I think about doing something, I'm going to do it right then and there. I'm not going to wait because then it delays everything. So I am no longer going to negotiate with myself about doing the uncomfortable thing. I'm just going to do it right then and there. So
Four,
anybody
three,
else?
two, one, go.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you that I just negotiated before the call started? I needed to make my Royal Caribbean cruise, my first bookings payment this morning. And I was like, no, I'm going to get on this meeting. I'll do it at 8:45 before I leave for work. And right now, as we were jotting down questions, I just logged on real quick and I'm like, Jackie, you're not going to do it at 2 o'clock when you get off and get home. Like, do it right now. So there I was negotiating with myself. But this all, like, of course, just all connects to the procrastination. And I try to work on that self and I pray about it all the time. I'm like, just remove this, Lord, from me. And It's just an everyday battle, let me tell you.
It's something that definitely is it takes time. It takes time. It takes the repetition to form the new habits, to get the new standards. So, anybody else? Anybody willing to share what they are no longer going to negotiate with themselves?
I'll go, and this is this is ongoing. So this is where I hold accountability. Need
And
my
that's why you speak it
accountability
out
partner.
loud because we are all here to keep you
Yeah,
accountable.
but this isn't the first time you've heard this. I'm no longer going to negotiate with myself about completing my DMO. I also, and in that, one of the things that I wrote, um, I said I would invite five. And in my mind or in my world, sometimes I'll be like, whatever reason I have or don't have, I negotiate with, I'll just do 10 tomorrow. And then 10 is too many. So, okay, I'm back to the five. It's like I'm constantly negotiating. So this was really good. Yeah, this was good for me.
Anybody else want to share what they are no longer going to negotiate about?
I wrote down that I was no longer going to negotiate with myself about um, taking care of myself, making like some doctor appointments that I need to do because I put that off all the time because doctors just drive me crazy. And so I just don't even want to go see them. I feel like they never have answers. But then I also did put this one down that I no longer negotiate with myself about uh, following up with or how did I put it? About doing what I'm going to do or doing what I'm going to say I'm doing. That makes sense. Like this morning, I really wanted to sleep in and I was negotiating with myself because I had my nieces last night. I was tired, but then I got up and did this. And I have been trying to do that this week. Like I have a schedule to follow up with people and I have been doing better. Like I think, oh, they're just going to tell me no again, or they're going to be like, oh, not this week. And I get tired of hearing their negotiations. And so then I'm like, oh, I don't want to call them back. But I have been like trying to make myself do it. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm going to work on those too.
you never know when that next moment that you talk to them is going to be the light bulb moment. You're already deciding for them by not following up.
Right. Yeah.
And then when it comes to the doctors, would you tell your loved ones to not call the doctor?
Oh no, I get irritated with my
Yeah.
parents and they don't do it. I'm like,
So
you
why
don't,
is it acceptable for you?
I don't know. It's not. Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
That's so true, Joey. And I'm it's not funny, but I'm just giggling because I'm like, oh, you tell her, Joey.
Yeah. Well, it is so true. It is so true. I just,
Same with my eyes every year. I don't want to ever go get my eyes checked because it's uncomfortable, but same.
mhm.
Or the
Yeah.
boob smashed.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
right. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
we
that's
get
the
so
worst.
many fun things.
Yeah. If it's okay for you to tell yourself, your loved ones, you can't do that. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Why is it
Mhm.
okay for you to let yourself, get away without doing it? So I've been thinking about this a lot the last month, and it's really like put a lot of things into perspective.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember. I'm gonna have to say that to myself. Would I let my mom not get away with doing this?
No.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's tough.
Anybody else want to share what they are no longer negotiating with themselves before we finish up?
Mine is don't ever wait for someone else to help you do it. Figure out a way to do it yourself.
That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Mhm.
And it's been my life lately. And that's where that makes that ripple effect of, the procrastination, because I have to start waiting for somebody else to help me do things, or, guide me or whatever, when I have it in me to do it myself, figure things out myself.
Exactly. It's so easy to put the blame on somebody else. Well, I'm waiting for them. They're busy now. I have to wait for them.
Right. Or I'll come help you, but it never happens.
All right. So
Yeah.
for the next 7 days, I want you each to make one promise to yourself. Not 10 promises, just one. And it doesn't have to be huge. Just make it so that it is ridiculously achievable, because we're not trying to prove how much we can accomplish this week. We're building something much more important, that is evidence. So every day that you keep that one promise to yourself, you are adding another piece of evidence. I can trust myself. I said I would do it. I did it. Day 2, I said I would, and I did. Day 3, I said I would do it. I did it. And then eventually something's going to start changing. And it's not just your behavior, but it's your identity. You stop being somebody who is trying to become consistent, somebody who is trying to do it. You become somebody who is consistent, somebody who did it. You stop trying to become disciplined, and you become somebody who keeps the word to herself. And that's where that ripple is going to start. So we're going to finish off today with the other thing that Debbie Neal does is on Wednesdays, she drops, I believe it's Wednesdays, she drops the affirmations that go along with the podcast. So we are going to finish up with her affirmations, and they're only like 4 minutes long. So let me once again share my screen, share sound. There. And there we go.
Negotiating with yourself. I am going to say an affirmation. I'm going to pause, leaving you time to say that affirmation out loud with feeling. I keep promises I make to myself. I choose discipline over comfort. My standards are higher than my excuses. I act before I feel ready. I honor my commitments every day. I no longer negotiate with my future. My word matters, especially to me. Every disciplined decision builds my confidence. I am becoming the leader God created me to be. I choose purpose over convenience. I do what I said I would do. My identity is stronger than my emotions. I lead myself first. I don't wait for motivation. I create momentum. Every small win strengthens my character. I finish what I start. My future is worth today's discipline. I respond with faith instead of fear. I raise my standards one decision at a time. I refuse to let comfort steal my calling. Consistency is becoming my lifestyle. I trust myself because I keep my word. I choose excellence in the ordinary moments. Today, the conversation is over. I don't negotiate. I decide. I lead. I raise my standards.
All right. Those are her affirmations. Like I said, she does them for each episode that she does. She drops the episode on Monday mornings and the affirmations on Wednesdays. So, with that, I will open it up for any last minute feedback. Then I want to make sure that you guys have some extra time to get a break before we head over to JP's if you are doing that. But make sure you keep the promise that you are that you have written down for this week. You are building the evidence and you are becoming somebody whose word means something to herself. So with that, any final moments or any final feedback, thoughts?
Is
No,
the
but I
link
just
for
want to share
JP's
something.
in our chat?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yes.
I believe it is.
Okay.
It is. I'll.
I
Perfect.
didn't mean to disrupt the thoughts here. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll make sure you have it. I'll
I'm
send
ready to honor my commitments every day.
There you go. I love it.
So I just want to share as far as the health. Joey knows that it's been a big thing for me to focus on a few things for my health. And I have seen somebody that kind of specializes in hormonal replacement and things. Um, Yesterday I found out that there are no signs of the Hashimoto's. She's like, I've never seen that in a patient before. And I was like, well, I know it's a thing because I'm in some Hashimoto's groups and people have said there's no indication. And I was like, that's awesome. Um, and then I did get I got a pellet for hormonal replacement. So we'll see how that works out. I have a lot of issues, but I'm hopeful now, like we're getting somewhere. I have a doctor that is like, or well, she's
Listening
actually,
to you. Yeah.
anyways, I just had to share that because a lot of you know my journey and how exhausted I always am. So more hope.
I think that's the hard thing about taking care of ourselves is because we have to find that doctor that will actually listen and really support you and help you in what you need. And I think
Yep.
that's a struggle itself.
Yep.
Definitely. Well,
But
I think
congratulations.
those pellets are going to help you, Abby, because I've had plenty of friends who have been on those pellets.
Yeah. Yeah. I found something kind of fascinating. If you want to, I mean, this fascinated me and I didn't know. Do y'all have a couple minutes? I know we want to get on to JP, but so it's testosterone and estrogen. And I had no idea that she said, you're actually on the high end of testosterone for a woman. She said, and that's usually